It's a big deal because Nintendo themselves are talking about the next Nintendo Switch console, and it's kind of freaking me out. I think you should be a little scared based on what they've said, and that's why we got to do this even on a weekend. What's going on, everybody? It's Zach from SwitchForce. Nintendo rarely talks on record about what they're working on, about their new stuff. But when President Shintaro Furukawa gets out there and has comments to say, it's pretty much breaking news because they are so tight to the chest. They freaking keep everything held in with maximum strength. And so when they let a little bit leak, we like to read and see what we can glean from it. I think a lot that's being gleaned from this is one way, but I really feel like you could glean the other direction. And I want to bring both of them to you and see which you think it is. So let me know in the comments down below, everybody. I'm going to read you the quote first, and then we'll break it down and go through what it means for the next Switch. Obviously, everyone now expects this to be late 2024, and it seems like Furukawa is moving in that direction. Now, before we get too deep into the magic that is Nintendo's next system, there is some magic for you right now. Who loves cats? If you don't, I know there's dog people out there, but cats have a relaxing, calming nature that I think is good for the soul. They purr their way to peace for you and for me. That's why the Purr Festival from Red Deer Games is a super cool discounted Nintendo Switch Palooza, where for the next 3 days, you can grab a lot of their games for 90% off. Insane values for titles such as She Wants Me Dead, Little Bug, Cat's Cosmic Atlas, Dr. Smart Space Adventure, Under Dungeon, which I really recommend, Uzazu, Mojito the Cat, Catgachi Virtual Pet, and Cattails, all available at supreme discounts till August 22nd. Every time you click the link in the description down below to check out the games, it helps support SwitchForce and what we do here, and it also supports cats. And who don't want to support some beautiful, clawed, furry, purring, biscuit-making, earth-shaking, body-quaking cats. Click that link and check it out. You got like 3 days to go. While there is no particular technology we are focusing on at the moment, we are conducting research on a variety of new technologies. However, I believe the most important thing for our company is not seeking new technologies for novelty's sake, but rather considering how they can lead to revolutions in the act of play itself. The idea is that if we become convinced that incorporating a certain technology can provide customers with a fresh and surprising experience, then we covet its research more strongly, making investments when necessary as well. So a whole lot of verbiage for what? It's a bit mysterious here, and I've seen two different takes on this. One reading this to mean, okay, Nintendo is not going to be gimmicky with the Switch 2. You know, the Switch has multiple gimmicks. It's got detachable controllers, the system can switch, and Nintendo has used gimmicks to fuel many of their console launches in the past. In fact, it's something that they prided themselves on, like, we're always original. Furukawa says we're not seeking new technologies for novelty's sake. That seems like, hey, we don't want gimmicks just for gimmicks. So a lot of the reading of this quote is like, Nintendo is focusing on a beefier Switch. It's going to be Switch, but stronger. Everything we've anticipated, everything we've expected, everything we want. Right? He says there's no particular technology we're focusing on. We're researching a variety of new technologies, but the most important thing is revolutions in the act of play itself. And a lot of people are taking this to mean, hey, a much more powerful Switch. We've already figured it out. We don't need to just add doodads here or there, some, pinwheels and some spirals just because it's quirky. But at the same time, Furukawa also is saying the idea is that if we become convinced that incorporating a certain technology can provide customers with a fresh and surprising experience, then we covet its research more strongly, making investments when necessary as well. What has Nintendo invested heavily in the last few years? Do you remember all these stories and videos coming out mostly about 1.5 to 2 years ago, where Nintendo's R&D budget, their research and development budget, was astronomical? It was huge. And we interpreted that to mean, hey, they're getting ready for a new system. They are researching and developing a new console, and that new console would be the Switch 2 that everybody's waiting for in 2024. What if, though, Furukawa and co. have found a technology that can provide customers with a surprising and fresh experience, and that is why they invested so heavily in its R&D. Because Furukawa doesn't say they don't like new ideas, they just want more power. He says they're considering how new ideas can lead to revolutions in the act of play itself. Now, this is where I think you should be a little scared, because I don't believe that better graphics revolutionize play itself. I don't believe better frame rates revolutionize play itself. I don't believe that more power and DLSS technology revolutionize play itself. Nintendo is much more about one of two things. One, bold new gameplay ideas. Look at Tears of the Kingdom and how that incorporates this whole fusion creation technology that blows other developers away and seems crazy that you can build just about anything and complete and accomplish the quests and tasks in the game in such a wide variety of ways that you, the player, decide. That's revolutionizing the play experience. But you know what else is revolutionizing the play experience? Waggle. Wii motion control revolutionized play experience in its own way. You could argue that Nintendo Switch's hybrid nature also revolutionized play itself, being able to take Zelda, put it in the dock, and then leave with it. When Furukawa says they like ideas that lead to revolutions in the act of play, that to me doesn't speak to a simple gimmick. I think Nintendo has learned that certain actions they took and invested in did not revolutionize. Like the multi-screen display of Wii U and its tablet, probably not something they go back to. But what about a brand new way of play such as AR, VR, or something that's totally different? I fear that maybe Nintendo has fallen in love with an idea like this. And while many are reading this quote to mean Nintendo is definitely just locking down on the Switch and upgrading its performance and its power, I feel like his emphasis on revolutions in play, fresh and surprising experiences, and we make investments when necessary. They've made investments. What if they are ready to try and do something super crazy? Now, another part of this puzzle is how do you differentiate Switch 2 from Switch 1? Nintendo had a mega struggle separating Wii U from Wii, even though the form factor was dramatically different. You had a giant gamepad versus a Wiimote that still didn't keep customers from being confuzzled as to what this new Wii U was. If Nintendo goes the Switch Pro, the Switch Ultra, the Switch Plus route, what will they use to differentiate this console? If they go the Switch 2 route, I think there maybe you can get away with just more power. People are accustomed to that with Xbox and PlayStation, add a few numbers, and boom, it means more power, newer games, better experience. But when Furukawa throws in these words like revolution, surprising, and fresh, I get worried. To me, that doesn't just speak to graphics. I would not rule out that Nintendo is working on something crazy, and that maybe perhaps part of the Switch 2's issue, if you want to call it that, with being revealed not yet, with being a 2024 thing, with being 8 years out from the Switch, is maybe they actually are working on something crazy. Maybe it's not just the step up in performance that we've all pigeonholed it to be. I made a video recently talking about, for the first time after seeing the Lenovo machine, Nintendo might just want to be crazy. Do they want to be the company making a more powerful version of their last system? Do they want to be the company making a competitor to the ROG Ally, the Steam Deck, the Lenovo Go, but it has Nintendo games? Is their idea of revolution and fresh and surprising just that it has Mario and Zelda? Or is Nintendo about to take another leap and hope that this one is as successful as the hybrid leap they made with Switch? Perhaps in the company's DNA, they can't just settle for a more powerful system. Maybe they got that out of the way with the OLED being a better experience without really revolutionizing or changing anything. Yes, the performance and the power did not upgrade, but the experience did. The OLED screen brings a vibrancy, a lightness, and just a overall more quality play experience to every game you could put into your Switch or onto your eShop download chart. Will they just repeat that, but this time with more CPU, GPU oomph? I'm beginning to feel and lean much more towards the side that Furukawa and Nintendo have at least something very quirky planned for the next Switch, and while they say we're not seeking new technologies for novelty's sake, I kind of interpret that as a way to say, hey, don't worry, we're not just going to throw 3D on there like we did with the 3DS and forget about it. If we invest in a new technology, if we make investments, if we covet its research, we're going to commit to it, and we're going to ensure that our games take full advantage. There's a very big argument to be made that both the 3DS and the Wii U struggled to keep hold of their gimmick for longer than the initial launch period. How many games were actually taking advantage of the gamepad screen? How many games were actually taking advantage of 3D? Hardly any. So there is a world where you read this and say, okay, Furukawa is saying, we're done with that. I'm here. New era of Nintendo. We're going more power. But I think there's a totally equal and likely world where we read this to say Furukawa and Nintendo have found some crazy new technology, something that really does revolutionize and surprise players, and that is what will be bringing the Switch 2 to its different standpoint from the Switch 1 and to a marketplace where it can charge $400, $450 and feel like a new thing. They want to have a seamless transition, but maybe that's why the backwards compatibility talk is so difficult at this point. If it was just a more powerful Switch, BC should be easy. Maybe it's not easy because maybe the system is actually dramatically different after all. What do you think? How do you read Furukawa's comments? And are you worried that Nintendo could be going for a revolution again when frankly, they don't need it? Logic says continue with what works, make a more powerful Switch that plays first-party games, and you're golden. Software has been the catalyst for Nintendo's insane profitability the last 7 years, and it could be that for the next 7. But I have this sneaking suspicion that Nintendo is not ready to just PS4, PS5, PS6 it up. A Switch 2 seems logical, but Nintendo always loves to surprise. What will the surprise be this time? Let me know your take in the comments down below. I'll let you know if we hear any more from Furukawa or Nintendo. I always find these quotes fascinating, and Nintendo's official word, man, that's more important than anybody else's word out there on the internet in terms of Nintendo systems. So let me know what you think. Thanks so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, stay positive out there. Until next time, love you lots. SwitchForce out.